So here she is. This is my bookshelf. Welcome. Welcome, 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 welcome. Name that movie? Anyone? What I strive for in my bookshelf. Now, this is a kid's bookshelf. It's 4 shelves, 5 feet tall. And it's just perfect for the amount of books that I own. I'm kind of a mover. We'd be moving, so I can't be having too many books. I can't own too many books. Now, what I strive for is for these to all be books that I like. As it is now, it's all books that I have either read and like, or books I have not read. I think that's pretty normal. So it's alphabetized and by author. And if you notice that it's not perfectly alphabetized, please just mind your business. Actually, what I'm going to do first is put stickers on the books that I haven't read. These stickers are not that sticky, so don't be worried about me ruining my books. And I'm just going to put random ones, and I'm just going to put them on the books that I have not read. Yeah. Okay. That was depressing. So the project that I've been working on this past couple of weeks is reading all of the children's books in my bookshelf that I have not read. I just figured that my bookshelf is full. As you can see, it's 100% full. They are absolutely smashed in there. I cannot get any new books. Not that I'm like, what can I get rid of so I can get new books? That's not really the attitude I want to have, but I do want this bookshelf to be full of books that I love. So, or that I think the kids will love when they get old, or I love and I want them to love when they get old, whatever. So with that being said, what I've been working on the last couple of weeks is reading all of the children's books that I have not read before. And actually there was not that many. Now, if I included books that I read when I was a kid that I don't remember that well, then there would be more. Then there would be a lot more. Okay, I just wanted to change the angle a little. So let me get out the books that I read in this project. So first we have, so this is an Avi book called The Seer of Shadows. I did read some Avi books growing up, but this was not one of them. I don't think. I'm pretty sure I've never read this book. So I read it a couple weeks ago. Really good. I really liked it. It is kind of historical fiction a little bit. It's set in the late 1800s, I believe, maybe early 1900s. It's about a boy who is an apprentice for a photographer, and he has a special ability to see ghosts. And the book doesn't have a lot, like it's pretty, like it's a short book. So you just fly through it, and it's pretty much about his experience seeing ghosts. What that means. So it's a good book, and I will be keeping it. So I'm gonna take off the sticker because I read it. Then we have Sister Out of the Traveling Pants. Okay, I don't want to yuck anyone's yum, because this is definitely a middle school. Many girls my age who read this in middle school love it. I did not read it in middle school. I watched the movie probably in college. So this book is about 4 girls who are friends, and I don't even know why they're friends, to be honest. I mean, it explains it, but they don't seem very similar. Their friendship seems like it will not withstand college. That's my interpretation, okay? Anyway, one of the girls, so it's Tibby, Lena, Bridget, and Carmen. And they're all kind of main characters. And it's about this one summer where they have this like magical pants that fits all of them. The pants are not. The pants almost have nothing to do with this story. It's just about 4 girls, and they do send the pants back and forth between them, and they do happen to fit all of them. Now, 2 of the girls' stories is like, 2 of them are kind of hard-hitting. One of them deals with death, and one of them deals with divorce and, no, not divorce, with remarriage and like new family type stuff. Those were really hard hitting, and it was like, oh yeah, this would be helpful, I think, for a kid to read who's like going through a similar one of these things, or even to read so that you can relate with those kind of things better. However, the two other girls, one of them goes to Greece because her grandparents live there, and she, like, the thing that happens to her is that this boy who's really cute sees her when she's skinny dipping, and she thinks it's on purpose, but it was not. It was like an accident, and that's the conflict in her story, okay? The other girl, the conflict is, oh God, I hated her. That she really wanted to be with. She went to a soccer camp in Mexico, and she like fell in love with one of the teachers there. She's 15. No, about to be 15. And the teacher's 19. And he does not want to be with her. And he says it multiple times. And she, like, dare I say, stalks him. And I'm like, hey, you're in the wrong. I cannot relate with this. You're a minor. You're 14. Not only could he lose his job, that's what he was concerned about, losing his job. And I guess they're in Mexico. I don't know what the laws are, but she's American. And the point is, that is illegal, both legally and in my mind. And I just hated reading her story. Anyway, it sucked. It was the worst. Also, it wasn't a great, it's not like, oh, I'll keep this for my daughter, so it's fun. So needless to say, I didn't like it, and I won't be keeping it. Next, we have, okay, Roald Dahl, and tell me why I was advertising this bookshelf after I bought this book, 6 months ago, and I realized his name is not Ronald Dahl. There's no N. There is no N in his name. Anyway, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Loved the movie, the original movie. Watched it a lot growing up. Very near and dear to my heart. Watched the newer movie only because I had Freddie Highmore, who I was obsessed with. Didn't love it so much. I actually don't really remember it very much. But anyway, this has never been read. This has never been read to me, and I have never read it. And I read it very fast. And I enjoyed it. I liked it. It was even more sinister than the movie. The Oompa Loompas are crazy. It's like they orchestrate the whole thing, and they really are out here, that's kind of a strong word. Tricking / maiming / whatever kids. Now, okay, you may be thinking the movie, your least favorite part is when they take the soda that makes you fly to the ceiling, and you're like, why did they do that? He was a perfect kid. You will be happy to know that they didn't do that in the book. Thank God. I'm like, nothing personality-wise makes sense that he would do that. He's like a very straight-laced, very responsible, very whatever kid. Really good kid. Listens to adults, okay? Why would he do that? And why would Grandpa Joe do that? Anyway, and if you were upset in the movie about the 4 grandparents who just sit there and eat food when they have no food on the table, you're going to be just as upset in the book. They're just even worse. They're more like that. They're like that, but worse. It talks more about how they're poor and how everyone is about to starve. Anyway, and Grandpa Joe, you're thinking, Grandpa Joe. So you can get up when Charlie needs to go to the chocolate factory, but you can't get up to make a buck doing literally anything, sweeping the house even, just anything. Cooking food, no? Okay. And I think it's good. I'm going to keep it. I liked it a lot. The next book that we had was Neil Gaiman's The Graveyard Book. Being so frank, being so real with you, I didn't finish this. I got about 50% of the way through. just boring. And I don't want to say that with a kid's book. It's like, if you think a kid's book is boring, you're never going to be able to read anything. But it was boring. Didn't have a lot of plot, wasn't a lot going on, and you're going to be shocked because one of the later books I talk about could be construed as incredibly boring. But this is about a kid who lives in a graveyard and he can see ghosts and he's raised by ghosts and he helps them out and this and that. It just wasn't, okay, maybe boring isn't even the right word, because it wasn't like there's no plot. Like, things are going on, but I just had no warm feelings toward this book whatsoever. So I stopped reading it 50% of the way through. So to people who love this, it has great reviews. To people who love this, I apologize. I'm sorry. Not the book for me. Next we have... Okay, so it was the next book. This is what I was just talking about. This is the next book. The Wind in the Willows. Read to me when I was a very small child. And this was like being known about in my household. It was like everyone had read it. I didn't ever end up reading it. I have the Haslam's copy. This is the book. This is the cover that I have. This is the typeset for it. Yikes. Why are the margins so huge? Could have just made the words fit in that page. Okay, anyway. This is by Kenneth Grahame, and I'm actually listening to this one, and to be honest, I'm so glad that I am, because the audiobook is amazing. It is the cutest, it is the sweetest, it is the funnest, it is, the voice actor is just like so good. I live for hearing him say ratty. For the rat. It kills. It's the cutest, sweetest. This book, I haven't gotten... Books do not often get emotional responses out of me. And if they do, it's like thrillers or like super high stakes fantasy or something. And I'm like in shock the whole time, you know. When I'm reading this, I'm almost brought to tears from the beauty of the prose and the story and the friendships in this book. It's about Mole, who befriends Rat, and they just like kind of go on adventures together, and half of their adventures are just like hanging out. But their friendship is so, I mean, this is a book about friendship. It's about their friendship, some other animals' friendship. It is so sweet, and it came at a really opportune time for me concerning friendships. I just loved reading this book. It was sweet. It was beautiful. I mean, when you're talking about cozy, like this, like want to sit down and read and like almost cry because the bank is so beautiful, you know, the river bank. Great book. I loved every second of it. And if you are an audiobook person, I recommend the audiobook because it's so much fun. I'll put the narrator's name on. It's so fun, so cute, so sweet. And all around a good time, and a story of loyalty and friendship. There you have it. Next kid's book that I had not read is The City of Masks by Mary Hoffman. Now I saw this book at the thrift store. All of these books actually are from the thrift store, but I saw this book at the thrift store and I was like, oh, I recognize that. And I had a positive vibe. I know I owned this book when I was quite young. And I had a positive vibe when I was looking at the cover, but I did not remember a single thing about it. And this book is a fantasy book about a kid who has leukemia, and he's not doing well, and he enters a dream world while he's sleeping. That is maybe a real world. That is Italy, but a little bit slightly alternate, and it's also 600 years in the past. Now, he can travel there. It's not like he's dead. He travels there when he's sleeping, and he comes back to his world when he's awake. And in that world, there's, you know, sinister forces that are trying to find him so that they can get their hands on his technology of the future, etc. And there's also some other things that are kind of mysterious about the world. And as he travels there, he starts to get better in the real world. Now, I like this book. I'm about to say something that doesn't make sense, okay? Sometimes this happens. I've been reading this book for like 2 months, maybe more. I just cannot get through it. Like, I don't. Now, granted, I have picked up crochet in that time, and that really takes out my ability to read physical books, especially since I have to do like Christmas, you know, there's like deadlines for some of these things. I like this book, but it feels really repetitive. And I'm 2/3 of the way through or something, and it just feels like I'm reading the same thing over and over again. I want to find out what happens, but it's like I'm reading again and again and again the same. Like, he goes to the world, they explore a little bit, they ride a boat, he talks to this girl that he's been talking to, then he goes back to his world. His parents are worried about him. He wants to get back to the, you know, Italy world. He goes to the Italy world and he explores a little bit, talks to the girl a little bit. Like, nothing is getting found out. It's like very slow paced for how short it is. I don't really have desire to find out what happened. So I'm going to give this to another loving home. And somebody else will like this book more than me. It'll appeal to somebody more than me. Somebody will read it quicker than me and like it more than me. So that one is going to go as well. So my next books that I want to read is historical fiction. And is it called historical fiction when they wrote it? If they wrote it in that time? I don't think so. It's just called fiction. But I'm putting it in historical fiction zone because I will be reading about olden times in my next genre. So that is going to be, and I'm sure you can't see it, but that is going to be all of my Jane Austen books, my North and South. These 2 books, this is historical fiction about North Korea. This is historical fiction, like historical fiction about Korea. And that, this is historical romance. But, you know, I might throw that in there, because I might throw that in there. I'm reading about olden times, okay? And this is also, actually, is it historical fiction? We'll find out. It might be. And then this book, which is A Gentleman in Moscow. So that'll be my next genre that I'm reading from. Wish me luck. Historical fiction is not my forte. That's why I've pretty much all of the books that are historical fiction in this bookshelf have not been read. Wish me luck, and I'll see you in the next one.